This is part 2 to the 2023 Holdbacks. Obviously, part 2 is going to be for bearded dragons, so let's go check them out. What's up, everybody? So, we got some really good ball pythons in 2023. If you haven't checked out that video of the Holdbacks for 2023, I'll link it up there. Now, we're going to be talking about the bearded dragons that we held back for 2023. Now, most of you have seen my bearded dragons on my website, and maybe I've shown them on videos or whatever. I kept a lot of bearded dragons, and I probably have to dwindle it down a little bit. So as of right now, I'm at 7, possibly 8. I usually don't try to keep more than 3 or 4 bearded dragons for a season, but this season I produced so many things that I was like, I gotta hold it back. And I also got a paradox. So you've probably already seen the paradox in a different video, but I'm going to show you all 7 bearded dragons, all possibly 8 bearded dragons that I have held back for 2023. And I've also received a couple snakes and a couple bearded dragons that I'm not going to talk about in this video, but there will be a separate video on the bearded dragons that I got. I don't try to buy many bearded dragons in a year, probably 2 or 3 bearded dragons every year just to add some new bloodline. And then obviously I'll get rid of some adults as well, just to kind of keep the rotation going. So you will see some bearded dragons that I purchased in the next video, possibly the video after that, maybe. And that's just how it's going to go. So for now, just want to show you the 7 bearded dragon holdbacks of 2023. Let's go look at them. So the first dragon I want to show off is the Paradox. I've already shown him off in a different video, but here he is. This is Mancha, the Paradox. He is a hypotrans, 66% het wiblets, purple Paradox. They call it a purple Paradox because obviously it looks purple in some places, but he's only had 1 shed and it's been on his tail since the last time I showed him off. So far, there hasn't been much change. The further he goes into adulthood, the more changes will happen. But as of right now, no changes have happened. He's pretty chill. I like the way that his purples kind of contrast with the oranges on him. His head is already like black practically, or purple, but super nice guy. I'm so happy that I have a Paradox now. I have been breeding bearded dragons for 12 years and I've never hit a Paradox, or at least if I've hit one, I probably sold it off before a Paradox and I didn't get a chance to actually see it change. So here's Mancha, the purple Paradox. Let's go look at the next one. So the next one here is Azrael, or Azrael. This is actually a female, regardless of the name. I just thought the name fitted because she is kind of sometimes a little ass. So she's pretty awesome, but she likes to eat, and sometimes she thinks fingers are food, but that's besides the point. This is a hypo leatherback dunner het trans. Obviously, she is red. Typically, I wouldn't keep males and females that are almost identical, especially if they're siblings, but I do have a plan in mind for her. I probably will produce more het weros using her and add a lot of that red to the het weros, mainly so the wiblets that come out of the het wero pairings are colored wiblets. The zeros obviously will still have no color, but that way you can still kind of get a little bit of that color from the wiblets out of a het wero pairing, instead of just getting plain wiblets just to get very, very nice white weros and zeros. But that's besides the point. Her purpose is solely for producing het weros. Honestly, she looks so good. I don't care if she does anything for me. I would not mind keeping her whatsoever just because of her colors. Reds, especially reds that are not translucent, always look orange at first, and then overall they turn into darker reds. I have a few reds myself that are not translucent, and the entire time they have turned from orange babies or brown babies, because sometimes they start brown, all the way to super nice red adults. And that's what I envision for her. So we'll see what happens, but she is a super nice red hypo leatherback dunner female. Let's go look at a different one. This little guy here, his name is Phobos. He is a hypotrans leatherback dunner wiblets, and obviously you can see that his color's coming in pretty strong. This is what I was talking about. When you get wiblets that are not colored, they don't really do much. They look like really plain bearded dragons. Regardless of the fact that they're obviously a nice recessive to have in any bearded dragon, but when you add the color to them, it really pops. It really makes it look better, because then Wiblets don't have pattern. All you get is pure saturation, and that's a perfect thing for a bearded dragon of this color. Obviously, he's still aging, so his color is going to come in better as he ages. This guy actually came from an orange mom and a yellow to orange dad, so he could obviously stay just orange, but he also could dull out. But I don't see him doling out, because I think he's getting a lot of this color from his mom, and obviously he looks super nice. Again, this is Phobos, and his future mate is going to be a Hypo Zero and a bunch of other stuff, mainly to make more Het Weros, as well as making more Het Wiblets. You cannot breed visual Wiblets to Het Wiblets, so all he can breed to is non-Het Wiblets or visual Zeros, because there's no zero in him. And that would make it to where, obviously, you get Het Weros, and you get a lot of nice colored Het Wiblets. So maybe down the road, I have a lot of hypo red females that I compare him to, and make some more even nicer Het Wiblets for better Wiblets in the future. So like I said earlier in this video, I don't really try to buy many bearded dragons, mainly because I can produce whatever I want to buy. So therefore, the only time I would buy something is if I have to get different bloodline, because of the bloodline that I already have, it's going to be too closely related to a different bloodline that I already have. So I just want some fresh blood, some fresh bloodlines, just so I compare in the future with other things. So again, Hypotrans Leatherback Dunner Wiblets. Obviously, he's a nice colored one. Let's go look at the next one. This here is Aill, and obviously you'll see the name at the bottom, because obviously it's going to be hard to pronounce and spell. But Aill is a Hypo Leather Dunner Het Trans Het Wero. He is going to be a star player next year. Hopefully I can get him up to size in time. This guy is probably already, I would say 60, 70, maybe 80 grams. And it's not going to be much harder to get him up to size, but this guy looks super good for what he is. And this is my stepping stone to producing colored Wiblets out of a Wero pairing. Mainly so you can get nice colors out of Wiblets and still get nice colors out of Zeros, and also obviously Weros. So you don't want to, so the thing about Zeros is sometimes, not all the time, Zeros that come from very high colored parents usually don't have the whites that you're looking for. Some people like the very white Zeros, and some people don't mind if they're a little bit gray. So obviously the more color the parents have, the less likely the Zeros are going to be white. But that's besides the point. These are still going to be so very nice, and they're also going to have a lot of the marbling that you see, because marbling sometimes comes from the barring of the parents. So this guy being nice, highly barred, his offspring are going to have some marbling as well. But super nice guy, super nice bearded dragon. Can't wait to see what he produces for me in the future. Obviously, again, his name is Aill. He is a Hypo Leather Dunner Het Trans Het Wero. Let's go look at the next one. This next dragon here is Seline. Seline is a Hypotrans Leatherback Genetic Stripe. She is going to be a nice tone of orange, and because she is genetic stripe, I can produce very nice genetic stripes out of her, and I can produce thunderbolts out of her. So I will be trying to find her a male in the future that is not translucent and not leatherback to produce thunderbolts with her. But for the time being, until I find that male, she's also going to be producing Het Weros for me. So eventually she'll be paired to a visual Wero, so I can get Het Weros out of her that are also genetic stripe. I personally like the genetic stripes in my Het Wero project, mainly because I want to see Thunderbolt genetic stripes, or Thunderbolts that are Wero. I don't know if that's going to be a nice combination or not, but it's something that I want to shoot for in the future. So again, I want to see Thunderbolt Weros. So right now, stepping stone is to produce Weros that have genetic stripe, or Het Weros that have genetic stripe. And she's going to be a stepping stone towards that direction. So again, Seline, Hypotrans Leatherback Genetic Stripe, an orange one. She did come from yellow parents, but one of the parents was yellow with orange tones. So she got a lot of the orange tones from that parent. Either way, she's super nice. She is also from Paradox lineage. The dad to her came from a Paradox parent, or no, came from a pairing that produced a Paradox. and therefore she is from Paradox lineage. Not that that really matters to anyone, because Paradox lineage doesn't actually mean that you're going to produce a Paradox. It just means that there's obviously already bloodline from Paradoxes. So if you want to produce Paradoxes, maybe that's your best chance of producing them. But again, there's no sure answer for Paradoxes, so therefore people just say Paradox lineage as a marketing gimmick, but it could mean something. I just never had I've never had a Paradox come from anything that came from Paradox lineage. And that's just my point of view on it. So again, Seline, Hypotrans Leatherback Genetic Stripe, orange one, looks pretty good. You can see that for yourself. She still has a lot more coloration to produce. She's still young. She still has a lot of aging to do. Let's go look at the next one. So this guy here, this is a Hypotrans Leatherback Dunner genetic stripe, or no, not genetic stripe, sorry. This guy here is a Hypotrans Leatherback Dunner. He is red. He has orange tones in his red, which is fine, no big deal. His name is Lucifer. Now, I kept him out of the first clutch of high-end red. So this guy came from a nice red Hypotrans Leatherback Dunner to a collie red from KP's Critters lines. And that's a Hypo Het Trans. The problem is, I had 3 clutches from her. The second clutch produced some very nice dragons, and I kept his brother. I'll show his brother after I show him, but you can see how good he looks. Now I just want to show you what he looks like, and then show you what the brother looks like, and then you can help me decide if I should keep one, both, or none. Obviously, it's not going to be none. I think I'm going to keep them both, just because of the way things are going. But I really like this guy. He's really chill. He has a nice orange undertone, and that's coming from the dad, because the dad still has orange tones in him, even though he has a nice red. So the mom doesn't have any orange tones. So the next baby that I want to show you, he doesn't have any orange tones either. He's pure red with, honestly, the blue barring and everything. And this guy is kind of washed out, but the next guy, you can kind of see it a little bit better. But he's still young, so he still has a lot of coloration to do. This guy has a whole month on the other guy, so obviously he's like twice the size, but that's just how things go. Now, again, this is Lucifer, a Hypotrans Leatherback Dunner. Let's go look at his brother. So this is a Amenadiel, and if you can't figure out the names, they're from the show Lucifer. Obviously, Lucifer has a brother named Amenadiel. That's this guy, Amen. All right, so this guy, you can see how much darker he is compared to his brother. You can see how his blue barring or his black barring looks so much darker than his brother's. This guy came out immediately. I was like, if this is a male, I don't know what I'm going to do. I might keep him, but I already have one. He came out. He was a male. I kept him anyways. I will show you his sister from the same clutch. His sister looks more like the older brother, but I haven't decided if I want to keep the sister or not. She is on the website. If somebody buys her before I actually make the decision, then obviously it wasn't meant to be. But this guy looks very good. Again, this is a Amenadiel. Let me bring the sister out and show you what the sister looks like next to him, so you can kind of get an idea of how coloration differs from sibling to sibling, even though they are exact same genetics. So this guy doesn't want to be next to his sister. He just ran around the entire photo box. But super nice. You can see how he has darker reds versus his sister has a lot of orange tones. I haven't decided if I'm keeping his sister yet, mainly because I have a female that's a Hypotrans Leatherback Dunner that's also orange. So keeping another one wouldn't make sense. However, the other one was used for Wiro pairings. So maybe I can do the same thing with her. But then again, I already have a sister from the same pairing that is potentially producing Het Wiros. So I don't want to keep too many Het Wiros from the same line. However, I don't know. It's going to be hard to decide, mainly because they all look so nice. But again, if somebody buys that female from me before I decide, then it wasn't meant to be. She is super nice. The colors on the screen don't do her any favors. Same with all the other dragons. For some reason, cameras never pick up nice colors. And I don't know why, but she looks very good. And she looks just as good as her older brother. And she looks almost as good as her clutch mate. But that's just how things go. So therefore, she hasn't been held back yet, because I have many others that can do the same thing that I don't want to saturate the bloodline too much. Because if I keep her as a holdback, that means I'll have 4 bearded dragons from the same pairing as holdbacks, and I don't like that. Honestly, I try to keep at least 1 from each pairing and try to have at least 4 holdbacks. And this year I kept 3 from the same pairing. And I have other clutches that I didn't have any holdbacks from. So that's just how things went for me this year. But super nice. Super nice. Can't wait to see what the red male does. And I don't know if I'm going to keep the female or not. But if I do keep her, I can't wait to see what she does. We'll see what happens. If you made it this far into the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything that I put out in the future. As always, peace.